Princess Liara sat at the edge of her crystal balcony, gazing at the sky above Xylar. The twin suns were setting, painting the clouds in shades of gold and violet. Below, the city floated on shimmering platforms held aloft by the planet's magnetic fields. It was beautiful, perfect and safe, but to Liara it felt small, too predictable. She had always felt restless. Being a princess was supposed to be about diplomacy, careful decisions, and following her council's rules. But Liara craved more. She wanted stories, adventure, and the unknown. And lately all her curiosity focused on one mystery: humans. Humans were supposed to be myths. According to Xylarian history, they were a race of warriors who had once roamed the galaxy, brave, clever, and unstoppable. But they had disappeared centuries ago. Only stories remained, tales told to young Xylarians about courage, honor, and incredible strength. No one had seen a human in generations, except maybe the records of explorers, which were always questioned. Liara tapped her fingers on the balcony rail, thinking. What if humans were real? She whispered to herself. What if they are still out there? Her council had scoffed at her questions. Princess Liara, humans are only legends, her advisor Thailand said. Chasing myths is dangerous. Focus on your duties. But Liara could not stop thinking about them. She had spent months scanning star charts, ancient data archives, and old scout reports. And then a week ago, something incredible happened. A small ship appeared near Xylar's orbit. It was sleek, unfamiliar, and unlike anything her scientists had catalogued. And it wasn't just a ship, it carried life. Human life. Liara's heart raced every time she thought about it. She had ordered her own sensors to track the vessel, making sure no one else knew. The humans had not fired weapons. They had not threatened anyone. They had just come. She turned from the balcony and walked into the palace's inner observation room. Holographic screens floated around her, showing scans of the ship. The images revealed a tall figure moving inside, wearing armor unlike anything Xylarians had seen. Strong, agile, focused. Could this really be a human? Liara murmured. Her eyes shone with excitement and fear. Suddenly the room's doors opened, and her personal guard, Selene, stepped in. Selene was loyal, careful, and always observant. Princess, your presence has been requested. In the council chamber, Selene said. Or, do you plan to ignore them again? Liara shook her head. Not today. I have other matters to attend to. Selene raised an eyebrow but said nothing. Liara knew he would not challenge her. She was, after all, the princess. But curiosity burned inside her like a fire she could not control. That night, Liara snuck to a smaller observation deck near the outer edge of the city. The stars stretched endlessly above, and there, against the dark sky, was the human ship, glowing faintly in the twin sunlight. She held her breath, wishing she could see inside. And then she did. Through a rare scanning pulse, she saw a single figure moving with incredible precision. The human, tall, broad-shouldered, moving with confidence, was repairing the ship while monitoring the planet below. Liara's eyes widened. Every story she had heard as a child suddenly felt small, not exaggerated, not impossible, real. The human moved with a grace and purpose that no Xylarian had ever shown. Every motion was efficient, thoughtful, and yet alive. Liara could not look away. She felt a strange mixture of awe and fear. Could one human really be this strong, this clever? She whispered. She wanted to meet him. She wanted to know if the legends were true, but she also knew the risks. Xylarians had never dealt with humans directly. No one knew if they were friendly, clever, or dangerous. And yet, Liara could not resist. Over the next few days, she observed the human. He moved through the city's lower orbit, scanning, analyzing, and repairing. He had no weapons drawn, no threat visible, but his presence alone changed everything. People began noticing something unusual in the skies. Rumors spread quietly. Something strange had arrived. Liara studied him, night after night. She gave him a name in her mind, Captain Jaren. It felt right. Strong yet calm. Brave yet intelligent. He was the human who had stepped out of myth and into reality. Finally, Liara made her decision. She would meet him. Not as a princess giving orders, not as a diplomat making demands, but as a curious observer, seeking to know the truth herself. She would see if humans were the legends everyone said they were, or if the stories had lied. The next morning, she prepared a small transport ship. It was fast, silent, and capable of reaching Jaren's ship without being noticed. Selin noticed her preparations. "Princess, where are you going?" he asked. His voice was calm but cautious. "To meet him," Liara said simply. "I need to know for myself." Selin frowned. "A human? Alone? You cannot—" "I am not afraid," Liara interrupted. "I have watched him. I have studied him. I am ready." He hesitated, then nodded. Loyalty won over fear. "Then, I will accompany you. But if anything goes wrong—" "Nothing will go wrong," Liara said. She sounded more confident than she felt. The transport lifted quietly into the upper atmosphere. Liara watched the cities below shrink, feeling a strange thrill of freedom. For the first time, she was not just a princess, not just a figurehead. She was someone seeking truth, reaching for the stars. Hours later, her ship approached the human vessel. It was larger up close than she had imagined. Its surface shimmered in the fading light, panels moving as if alive. Liara felt her heart pound. She was about to meet a human, not a story, not a legend, but a real, living, breathing human warrior. The airlock opened slowly. Liara stepped forward, feeling the strange gravity of this moment pressing on her chest. And then she saw him. Jaren was standing at the controls, his eyes scanning instruments. When he looked up, he froze for just a moment. Then he smiled, a small, cautious smile. "You're not supposed to be here," he said, his voice calm but with authority. "I am Liara," she said, standing tall. "Princess of Xylar. I have come to meet a human." Jaren studied her, his brow furrowed. "A human? You came here to meet me?" "Yes," Liara said. "I needed to know. Are the stories true?" Jaren's smile widened slightly. "Stories?" "Yes. About humans. About courage, strength, ingenuity. About—" She paused, unsure how to continue. "About legends." Jaren chuckled softly. "I don't know about legends, I just try to do my best, but if you want to see what humans can do, I can show you." Liara's eyes sparkled. She had dreamed of this moment for so long, and now it was real. She was meeting a human warrior, not in myth, not in stories, but in flesh and bone. And she knew deep inside that everything she thought she knew about humans was about to change forever. As the sun set completely, painting the human ship, in gold and violet light, Liara realized one thing clearly. Legends were not always just stories. Sometimes they were real, and sometimes they were standing right in front of you. The air inside Jaren's ship hummed with quiet energy. Panels flickered with soft blue light and strange instruments ticked and whirred. Princess Liara stepped cautiously onto the deck, feeling the subtle vibrations under her feet. Every corner of this human vessel seemed alive, as if it was more than just a machine. It was a home, a fortress, and a puzzle all at once. Jaren watched her carefully, arms crossed, his calm presence filling the room. He was taller than she expected, broad-shouldered, and his eyes held something she had never seen before. Confidence mixed with constant awareness. "You've never seen anything like this before, have you?" he asked, voice calm but curious. "No," Liara admitted. "Not like this. It's different from everything I know, everything we have." Jaren nodded, as if he understood perfectly. "Humans build for function first, comfort second, but it works. Everything has a purpose. You'll see." Liara's eyes roamed the ship. She noticed small details, tools neatly lined up in magnetic strips, storage compartments that opened only when needed, and holographic panels that responded to his gestures. She realized this was not just a ship, it was an extension of the human himself. Every tool, every panel, every move seemed perfectly designed for efficiency and survival. "Why are you here?" Liara asked suddenly. "Near Xylar, I mean. Why come to a planet that has no humans?" Jaren's expression became serious. "Exploration, observation, that's what humans do. We want to learn, to understand, and sometimes to help. And your planet is fascinating, unique." Liara smiled slightly. "Fascinating? That is one way to put it. Dangerous might be another." Jaren's smile returned. "Dangerous? Perhaps. But danger is just a puzzle waiting to be solved. You learn, you adapt, you survive. That is what humans do." Liara studied him carefully. She had heard stories about human courage, ingenuity, and strength, but seeing it firsthand was different. Jaren did not just talk about survival, he lived it. Every word, every movement, every glance showed a discipline and awareness that no Xylarian could match. "I've watched you from orbit," Liara said finally. You saved lives. Quietly, efficiently. I've never seen anyone act like that." Jaren shrugged modestly. "I do what I can. Every life matters. That's all." Liara's heart beat faster. She wanted to ask more questions, but before she could, the ship's sensors beeped urgently. A storm, a massive electrical storm, was forming near Xylar's floating cities. The readings were severe. High winds, electrical surges, dangerous magnetic shifts. Liara gasped. "That's one of the northern platforms. Thousands of people live there." Jaren's expression turned sharp. "We need to help. Now." He moved with incredible speed, issuing orders to the ship's automated systems. Liara watched in awe as he adjusted shields, calculated trajectories, and prepared a deployment system. Every action was precise, confident, and fast. "Wait," Liara exclaimed. "You can't just go. You don't know the dangers." Jaren looked at her calmly. "I've handled dangers before. Trust me." Before she could argue further, he activated the ship's deployment tubes. Small rescue pods launched at lightning speed toward the northern platform. Liara clutched the rail, holding on as the ship followed, descending into the storm's edge. The platform trembled under the force of the wind. Crystal spires swayed dangerously, and Xylarian citizens ran for shelter. Liara could see panic in their eyes, fear she had never felt herself, until now. Jaren's pods landed with precise timing. He and his team leapt out, moving into the chaos with calm determination. They guided people to safety, secured unstable structures, and even redirected energy surges from the storm using ingenious tools Liara had never seen. Liara's jaw dropped. Every story she had heard about humans, fearless, clever, adaptable, was real. And yet seeing it in person was humbling. "You really are legendary," she whispered to herself. Jaren returned to the ship, helping the last few citizens into the pod. His armor was scratched and dirt streaked his face, but his movements were steady, controlled. He looked at Liara and gave a small nod. "Not bad for a human, huh?" he said with a hint of humor. Liara laughed, but it was mixed with awe. "Not bad. You saved hundreds of lives in minutes. No Xylarian team could have done it that fast or that well." Jaren shook his head. "It's not about speed or power. It's about thinking, adapting, and caring. Humans learn from everything. We survive because we keep trying, that's all." Liara studied him. He was not boastful, not arrogant. He simply acted. Every word and gesture confirmed what she had suspected. Humans were not myths. They were real. They were amazing. "Why do you help?" she asked softly. "Why risk yourself?" Jaren paused. "Because it's the right thing to do. Because someone has to. Because life is worth it." Liara's heart raced. Those were simple words, but they carried power. Courage, intelligence, compassion. Everything her people believed humans had in legends was here, in one person. And it was real. Suddenly an alarm blared on the ship. The storm had shifted. A massive lightning strike was heading directly toward the platform's central energy hub. Jaren's eyes narrowed. Hold on, this is going to get rough. He moved to a control panel, calculating angles and forces. Liara watched him work, fascinated. The storm raged outside, winds tearing at the city, but Jaren remained calm. He adjusted the pod's positions, fired energy shields, and redirected the lightning strikes. The storm's fury seemed almost alive, but Jaren danced through it with skill that seemed impossible. Liara realized she was holding her breath. She had never felt such tension before, and yet, she trusted him completely. Finally, with one final adjustment, the lightning strike diverted harmlessly away from the city. The platform stabilized. Citizens cheered from the safety of their shelters, and the storm slowly began to lose its power. Jaren leaned against the rail, breathing heavily. Liara rushed to his side. You saved them all," she exclaimed. He shook his head, smiling faintly. "We did it together. Your people were brave too. They followed instructions. I just helped guide them." Liara's respect for him grew even more. This was not just strength. This was leadership, intelligence, courage, and kindness all in one. For the first time, she understood the truth of the stories. Humans were not just fighters, they were problem solvers, thinkers, and protectors. Every myth she had heard was rooted in reality. After the storm cleared, Liara invited Jaren to the observation deck. The sky was calm now, stars shining brightly, reflecting on the crystal platforms below. "You are incredible," Liara said quietly. "I have never seen anything like you, or anyone like you. How can one person be so human?" Jaren laughed softly. "I'm not incredible. I'm just me. But humans are like that. We face problems, we adapt, and we try to do our best. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail, but we always keep trying. That's what makes us human." Liara nodded, feeling a new sense of purpose. She wanted to learn from him, to understand humans better, to see what made them capable of such legendary deeds. "Will you teach me?" she asked. "About humans? About your ways?" Jaren looked at her thoughtfully. "I can try, but it won't be easy. Humans are complicated, and the galaxy can be dangerous. Learning about us isn't just lessons, it's experience. You'll have to see, do, and feel everything yourself." Liara smiled, excitement burning in her chest. "Then I am ready. I want to see everything. I want to know everything. I want to understand humans." Jaren nodded, a spark of respect in his eyes. "Then we'll start tomorrow. There's much to do, and many lessons you'll learn faster than you think." As the twin suns rose over Xylar, casting golden light across the city and the human ship, Liara realized her life had changed forever. She had met a human, not a myth, not a story, but real, alive, and extraordinary. And she knew this was only the beginning. For the first time, Princess Liara felt what it meant to step into a legend, not as an observer, but as a participant. The morning sun painted Xylar's crystal cities in gold and violet as Princess Liara stood on the balcony, staring at the horizon. After witnessing Jaren's skill and courage during the storm, she felt a new sense of excitement, but she also felt a responsibility. If humans were truly as extraordinary as the legends claimed, her people needed to see it for themselves. Liara's council, however, was not convinced. The advisors whispered doubts, warning her that humans might be dangerous, unpredictable, or even deceitful. They urged caution, saying that inviting a human onto Xylar was risky. Liara ignored them. If anything, their fear only strengthened her resolve. She wanted to test Jaren, not out of cruelty, but to prove the truth to herself and her people. "Jaren will understand," she told herself. "He is human. He will accept the challenge." She called Jaren to the palace observation deck. When he arrived, She could see him studying the floating city with curiosity, noting the delicate balance of platforms, the energy conduits, and the flowing crystal gardens. "Good morning, Princess," Jaren said, his tone calm and respectful. "You seemed excited today." Liara smiled. "I am, but today I want to see your abilities in action again. I want to set a challenge, not a battle, but a test of skill, intelligence, and adaptability. Are you willing?" Jaren raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A challenge? I'm listening." Liara led him to a smaller platform outside the main city. It was filled with strange ancient structures, floating stones, crystal labyrinths, and energy fields that flickered unpredictably. These were remnants of the Xylarian ancestors, designed as puzzles and tests of wisdom long forgotten. "This is your challenge," Liara explained. "You must navigate through the ancient labyrinths, solve the puzzles, and reach the center. No one in my people's history has done it without failing." Jaren's eyes glimmered with curiosity. "And what happens if I succeed?" "You prove to my people that humans are not just legends. You show that courage, intelligence, and adaptability are real, not stories, and—" Liara hesitated, a small smile forming. "You prove it to me." Jaren nodded. "I accept, but know this. Puzzles, traps, and old technology are not my usual environment. It will be interesting." Liara led him to the entrance of the labyrinth. The path ahead was wide at first, lined with floating crystal walls that shifted unpredictably. Energy pulses flickered across the floor, making it difficult to predict which tiles were safe to step on. "Your first test," Liara said, "is to reach the first platform without triggering any energy pulses. One wrong step, and you must start over." Jaren studied the floor carefully, his mind calculating angles, timing, and probabilities. He observed the flickering patterns and adjusted his pace. Step by step, he moved across the platform, light and precise. Liara watched, impressed at how quickly he analyzed the situation and adapted. With a final leap, he reached the platform, safely. Liara's eyes widened in admiration. "Incredible. That was faster than I expected." Jaren shrugged modestly. "It's all about observation. You watch carefully, think quickly, and act deliberately. That's how humans survive." The next section was more complex. Floating stones formed a moving path across a wide chasm, suspended in midair. Each stone shifted unpredictably, and a fall could mean failure. Liara raised an eyebrow. "This requires not just skill, but timing and trust in yourself. Many Xylarians have tried and failed." Jaren studied the stones, his eyes calculating each jump. He moved with precision, leaping from stone to stone, adjusting midair as they shifted beneath him. Liara could see the muscles in his legs and arms working in perfect harmony with his mind. He reached the other side without a single misstep. Liara clapped softly, a small laugh escaping her lips. "Even the legends couldn't do that. You are truly remarkable." Jaren smiled faintly. "It's not magic. It's practice, observation, and trusting yourself. Humans face challenges like this all the time, though rarely as beautifully dangerous as this labyrinth." The third test awaited. A series of holographic puzzles. Ancient Xylarian symbols floated in the air, glowing softly. Liara explained that the puzzles required pattern recognition, logic, and creativity. Jaren studied them carefully, moving his hands to interact with the holograms. The symbols shifted in response, but he adapted quickly, solving each puzzle one after another. Some required combining symbols in precise sequences, others demanded lateral thinking. Liara noticed how his mind worked differently from her people's. Fluid, creative, and willing to take calculated risks. "Your approach is different," Liara said softly. "Xylarians often overthink. You adapt naturally." Jaren shrugged. "Humans have to. Our environments change constantly. We improvise, we fail, and we try again. Adaptability is survival." Finally, he reached the labyrinth's center. A small crystal pedestal awaited him, glowing softly. He placed his hand on it and the energy field dissipated. Liara's eyes sparkled. "You did it," she whispered. "No one has ever succeeded." Jaren looked around, breathing heavily but composed. It wasn't easy, but the challenge was enjoyable. "Thank you for trusting me with it." Liara nodded, her admiration for him growing. "It is not just skill. You have courage, intelligence, and composure. You are everything the stories say humans are." Jaren shook his head. "I am just one human, but humans we can surprise. We can overcome." Liara's heart swelled with excitement. She realized this was not just a test of skill, it was a bridge. Through this challenge, her people would see that humans were capable, admirable, and worthy of respect. As they returned to the palace, Liara decided to introduce Jaren to the council. She wanted them to witness his abilities firsthand. The council chamber was grand, filled with ancient murals and floating light panels. The advisors' faces reflected skepticism and curiosity as Liara entered with Jaren. "This is Jaren," Liara announced. "A human warrior. He has completed a challenge no Xylarian has ever passed. He has proven his courage, intelligence, and adaptability." The council murmured in disbelief. Some exchanged worried glances. Others whispered to each other, but Liara ignored them. She wanted proof, not opinion. Jaren stepped forward calmly. "I am not here to fight or to claim superiority. I am here to show that humans can solve problems, adapt, and act with courage when needed. If you give me a chance, I can demonstrate further." The council watched him carefully. Liara noticed their skepticism fading, replaced by intrigue. Jaren's presence, calm confidence, and clear abilities were undeniable. Liara's advisor, Thalen, finally spoke. "Princess, if what you say is true, then this human has surpassed our expectations. But how do we know this is not a fluke?" Liara smiled. "He will continue to prove himself. This is only the beginning. Humans are not myths. They are real, capable, and remarkable." Jaren nodded. "Actions speak louder than words. Let me show you more. I promise you will see humans as they truly are." The council members exchanged glances again. Some were hesitant, but curiosity and hope began to replace fear. Liara knew that change was possible. If humans could prove themselves, her people would gain a new perspective and perhaps a new ally in the galaxy. After the council session, Liara walked with Jaren through the palace gardens. Crystal flowers shimmered in the sunlight, and floating koi swam through the air, gliding gracefully around them. "You were amazing," Liara said softly. "Not just in the challenge, but during the storm, in every movement, every decision. Humans are more than I imagined." Jaren smiled faintly. "You'll see more. Humans are not perfect, but we try. That is what makes us special." Liara nodded thoughtfully. "I think my people need to see that. They need to understand. You can change how they see the universe." Jaren looked at her, curiosity in his eyes. "And what about you, Princess? What do you see now?" Liara took a deep breath. "I see the truth. Humans are real, humans are capable, and humans are incredible. You have shown me that legends are sometimes more than stories. They are alive." Jaren chuckled softly. "Then I guess the stories were right after all." Liara laughed, a sound of pure joy. For the first time, she felt the thrill of discovery, of truth, of adventure, and she knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and wonders, and she would face them alongside a human warrior who was more extraordinary than any story had ever told. As the sun set over Xylar, Liara realized one thing clearly. The legends were real, and the future was brighter because of it. The twin suns of Xylar rose slowly over the floating cities, casting a golden light across the crystal platforms. Princess Liara stood at the observation deck, her hair glowing softly in the morning light. Beside her, Jaren adjusted the straps on his gear, ready for whatever the day might bring. Since completing the labyrinth challenge, their bond had grown. Liara had learned much about humans, not from stories, not from myths, but from the person standing beside her. She admired Jaren's courage, intelligence, and calm demeanor, and Jaren had begun to understand Xylarian culture, their careful ways, and their rich history. But today was not about learning. Today was about action. "Princess," Selene said, his voice steady. "Sensors have detected an unusual energy reading near the northern platform. It is unlike anything we have seen before." Liara's eyes narrowed. "Unusual energy? Could it be dangerous?" Selene nodded. "Possibly. It is expanding rapidly, and it may threaten the city if unchecked." Liara looked at Jaren. "This is the moment I mentioned. Humans are said to face challenges with courage and ingenuity. Will you help us?" Jaren nodded. "Of course. Let's see what we are dealing with first." They boarded a small patrol craft and flew toward the northern platform. From above, the readings were clear. A massive, pulsating energy field was spreading over the city. Crystals vibrated unnaturally, and the platforms below trembled. "This is serious," Liara said, her voice tight. "We need to act quickly." Jaren surveyed the field, his eyes scanning every detail. "It's like a natural energy surge, but amplified or controlled somehow. We need to understand it before it spreads." Liara nodded. "Then we work together, humans and Xylarians, side by side." As they approached the energy field, Jaren deployed a portable scanner. It floated in the air, sending pulses that analyzed the source. After a few tense moments, the scanner beeped urgently. "The field is unstable," Jaren said. "It could collapse parts of the city if we don't stabilize it soon. We need to redirect the energy, or the northern platform could be destroyed." Liara swallowed hard. "Then we split into teams. You take your tools and knowledge. I'll lead the local engineers to help." Jaren nodded. "Agreed. Let's move fast." They landed near the platform's edge. Crystals hummed under their feet, resonating with the energy field. Liara could feel the vibrations in her chest, and even Jaren's calm expression was serious. "Keep calm," he said quietly. "Panic will make this worse. Observe, adapt, and act." Liara led her team, working closely with Jaren. He instructed them on how to stabilize energy flows, showing techniques her people had never considered. He combined human tools with Xylarian technology, creating solutions that were both innovative and effective. Hours passed in a blur of activity. The energy field shifted unpredictably, threatening to destabilize the platforms at any moment. Citizens watched from safe zones, some cheering, some holding their breath. At one point, a crystal spire began to crack, teetering dangerously over a residential area. Jaren sprinted toward it, using a human grappling tool to anchor it. Liara followed, helping guide the civilians away from danger. With precise coordination, they stabilized the spire just in time. "Your people have courage," Jaren said, panting slightly. "They listen, they act. That's rare." Liara smiled despite the tension. "They are brave, yes, but humans, you are extraordinary." The energy readings began to stabilize. The pulsating field slowed and the vibrations weakened. Liara and Jaren worked side by side, adjusting conduits, redistributing energy, and finally, shutting down the surge completely. The citizens erupted in cheers. Liara could see the astonishment on their faces. They had never seen such bravery, skill, and intelligence combined in one person. And that person was human. Jaren wiped sweat from his brow and looked at Liara. "We did it." "Yes," Liara said, relief flooding her voice. "Together." After the crisis, Liara called a council meeting. This time she did not just speak, she demonstrated. Jaren explained his actions, showing how humans think differently, adapt quickly, and act decisively. The council members listened, some skeptical at first, but slowly, disbelief turned to respect. One elder finally spoke. "Princess Liara, if what you say is true, then humans are not only legends, they are worthy allies. What we see today is Proof of their value. Liara nodded. Exactly. Humans are real. They are capable, and they can help us face challenges that even we cannot overcome alone. Jaren added modestly, we are not perfect, but we try. And sometimes, trying together can make a difference far greater than anyone alone. The council murmured in agreement. Liara felt a surge of pride, not just in the human warrior standing beside her, but in her decision to trust him. That evening, as the twin sun set, Liara and Jaren walked through the palace gardens. The floating koi shimmered in the fading light, and the crystal flowers reflected colors that danced like fire. You have changed everything here, Liara said softly. My people. They will never see humans the same way again. Jaren shook his head. I didn't do this alone. You trusted me, and you showed your people that humans could be allies, not threats. That is just as important as what I did. Liara looked at him, admiration shining in her eyes. Humans are supposed to be legends, but you are real. And real is more powerful than legend. Jaren smiled faintly. Then I guess the legends were right in one way. Humans are extraordinary, but only when we work together with others, just like you did today. Liara nodded, feeling the truth in his words. Together we can face anything. Your skills, my people's knowledge. We can protect Xylar and perhaps even explore more of the galaxy. Jaren's eyes sparkled. That sounds like a challenge worth taking. And in that moment, Princess Liara realized something important. Humans were not only brave and clever, they inspired hope. Where Xylarians had seen limits, humans saw possibility. Where her people had feared the unknown, humans embraced it, with intelligence and courage. The next days were filled with collaboration. Liara and Jaren trained teams, combining human strategy with Xylarian technology. They mapped vulnerabilities, reinforced structures, and taught the citizens how to respond to emergencies. The city became stronger, safer, and more united than ever before. Citizens whispered stories of the human warrior and the princess working side by side. Children watched in awe as Jaren demonstrated agility, problem-solving, and ingenuity. Even skeptics began to understand. Humans were not just myths. They were capable, admirable, and worthy of trust. One night, as Liara stood on the balcony, overlooking the city, she thought about how far they had come. She had begun curious, unsure, and skeptical of stories about humans. But now she had seen courage, intelligence, and compassion in action. She had learned that humans were not perfect, but they were determined, creative, and brave, and she had a human warrior by her side, someone who had forever changed her perspective on the galaxy. Jaren joined her silently, leaning on the railing. You're thinking a lot, he said quietly. Liara smiled. I am. About humans. About the future, about what we can do together. Jaren nodded. It's exciting, isn't it? Knowing that the universe is full of possibilities and that courage and ingenuity can make a real difference? Yes, Liara said softly. And now I know, legends can be real. And sometimes reality is even better than legend. As the stars shimmered above Xylar, Liara realized the truth she had been searching for all along. Humans were extraordinary, not because of stories, but because of what they did, how they thought, and the courage they carried in their hearts. The twin suns of Xylar rose slowly, their golden light reflecting off the crystal platforms, painting the floating city in a warm glow. Princess Liara stood at the observation deck, her eyes scanning the horizon. Since Jaren's arrival, the city had changed. Citizens moved with confidence, workers repaired and reinforced structures with newfound skill, and children played near the platforms, speaking with awe about the human warrior who had saved them. Liara smiled softly. Humans had come into her life as a mystery, a legend she had never truly believed. But now the legend was real. And Jaren was more extraordinary than any story had told. But peace was fragile. The energy surge from the northern platform had been only a warning. Xylar's unstable crystal cores, the floating platforms, and the untamed energy fields could create chaos at any moment. And the Council had received reports of another, even larger energy anomaly forming near the southern sector of the city. "This could be dangerous," Selen said, his voice calm but tense. "If the surge spreads, it could destabilize the city completely." Liara turned to Jaren. "We need to act. Together. Are you ready?" Jaren nodded. "Always ready. Let's see what we're dealing with first." They boarded the patrol craft, flying over the city as alarms began to pulse from the southern sector. The energy readings were immense, a swirling, pulsating field, crackling with raw power. Crystals glimmered unnaturally, and the platforms below trembled under the energy's force. "It's larger than the last one," Liara said, her voice tight. "We need a plan, fast." Jaren's eyes scanned the anomaly. "We need to stabilize the core, but this isn't just natural. Someone or something is controlling it. We need to understand the source." Liara nodded. "Then we split into teams. You take the northern side with your tools. I'll coordinate the engineers on the southern platforms, but we stay in constant communication." The craft descended toward the southern sector. Crystals vibrated violently beneath them, and energy sparks shot across the platforms. Citizens were evacuated, guided by Liara and her teams. Fear and awe mixed on their faces as they watched the human warrior move with calm precision. Jaren deployed portable scanners, analyzing the anomaly. "The core energy is unstable but controllable. We need to redirect the flow before it spreads." Liara nodded. "Then we act, on my mark." The two teams moved into position. Liara guided the engineers, using her knowledge of Xylarian energy systems to assist Jaren. He combined human technology with her people's innovations, creating stabilizers that absorbed and redirected energy surges. Hours passed in tense coordination. The anomaly shifted unpredictably, and the platforms quaked under the strain. Jaren moved with calculated speed, adjusting the stabilizers and redirecting the energy. Liara coordinated her teams with precision, following his instructions, while improvising solutions for unexpected complications. At one point, a massive energy spike threatened a central residential platform. Jaren sprang forward, using a grappling tool to anchor the stabilizer in place while Liara rerouted the energy conduits. Sparks flew, and the platform shook violently, but together, they held it steady. Citizens watched in stunned silence, realizing that humans were not just legends, they were real, capable, and heroic. When the final surge stabilized, the energy field collapsed harmlessly, leaving the city intact. Liara and Jaren stood side by side, breathing heavily but victorious. Liara looked around at her people. The council members, once skeptical, now bowed in respect. Citizens cheered, their voices echoing across the floating platforms. And she knew in her heart, humans had earned their place in Xylarian history. One council elder stepped forward. "Princess Liara, the human warrior has proven himself, and humanity itself. What we witnessed today is nothing short of extraordinary. Humans are not myths, they are real, worthy, and courageous." Liara smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Yes, humans are not legends. They are alive. They are capable. And they are our allies." Jaren shook his head modestly. "I am just one human. But if this shows your people what humans can do, then it was worth it." Liara's eyes sparkled. "It was more than worth it. You have shown courage, intelligence, and heart. You have inspired hope and respect among my people. And for that, I thank you." That evening, Liara led Jaren to the palace balcony. The twin suns set behind them, casting golden light over the city. "You have changed everything here," she said softly. "The people see humans differently now. They trust us. They believe in us. And you have made legends come to life." Jaren smiled faintly. "Then I guess the stories were right after all. Humans are extraordinary. But only when we work together with others just like we did today." Liara nodded thoughtfully. "Together we can face any challenge, Your skills, my people's knowledge. We can explore the galaxy, protect our worlds, and build bridges between civilizations. Jaren looked at her, his eyes reflecting the setting suns. And that is the most important lesson. Courage, intelligence, and heart. Those are what truly make a difference. Not weapons, not technology, but the will to do what is right. Liara felt a warmth in her chest, a sense of hope she had never known. Humans were not just stories, not just myths. They were real, alive, and capable of inspiring change. The next days were filled with celebrations. Citizens honored Jaren, telling stories of his bravery, intelligence, and ingenuity. Children played games imagining themselves as human warriors, climbing crystal platforms and solving puzzles like he had. And the council began incorporating human strategies into their training, learning to adapt, improvise, and act decisively. Liara and Jaren trained together daily, exploring new ways to combine human and Xylarian technology. They shared knowledge, learning from each other, and building a bond that was stronger than any story could describe. One evening, as Liara watched the stars above Xylar, she realized something important. Humans were not only brave and clever, they inspired hope. They showed what was possible when courage, intelligence, and heart came together. Jaren joined her silently, leaning on the railing. "You're thinking a lot," he said quietly. Liara smiled. "I am. About humans. About the future. About what we can do together." Jaren nodded. "It's exciting, isn't it? Knowing that the universe is full of possibilities, and that courage and ingenuity can make a real difference?" "Yes," Liara said softly. "And now I know. Legends can be real. And sometimes reality is even better than legend." The twin suns set completely, leaving a sky full of stars. Liara felt a sense of peace she had never known. The city was safe. Her people were inspired, and humans had proven themselves in ways no Xylarian could doubt. And as she looked at Jaren standing beside her, she knew that this was only the beginning. Together they could face any challenge, explore any mystery, and prove that courage, intelligence, and heart were universal. The galaxy was vast, full of wonder and danger. But for the first time, Princess Liara felt truly ready. Legends had come to life, and she would walk alongside them, guiding her people into a future where humans were no longer myths, but heroes, friends, and partners in the stars. As the night deepened, Liara whispered to the wind, "Humans are real, humans are extraordinary, and together we will change the galaxy." Jaren smiled, placing a hand on the balcony railing. "Then let's make sure the stories never end. Let's show the universe what humans and Xylarians can do when they work together."